we start by you just telling us a bit more about her?
Yes. She was born on the 21st of January 1934. She lived in Anderson, an area of Glasgow, with her family, and then obviously married, children, and then we moved down from the Glasgow area to Salford. Mum and dad, 2 brothers, and just normal family life.
And you were close to your mum, weren't you?
Yes, she was a typical mum, I would say, as far as I'm aware these days. But yeah, she went to work. She was a typist, office person, and she looked after the house. My dad was a lorry driver for a catalogue firm, and it was just a normal run of the house, work Monday to Friday, then things like that. I went to school.
And reflecting on your mum's disappearance, this happened 2 weeks before your 15th birthday, wasn't it?
It was the 6th of June. Yes, and my birthday was the 18th of June.
And, I mean, reflecting on that now, what's going through your mind? I guess it's been a process of trying to come to terms or understanding what happened.
Well, in the beginning, it sounds selfish. I was surprised that she'd left before my birthday. I didn't think that sounds selfish, but I don't mean it that way. I was just told there was just my dad and myself that day, and he just told me that she'd gone to work away. The 2 brothers weren't there, and then that was basically it. I didn't see my mum that day.
And that was back in 1969, wasn't it? As we said,
was a Friday.
55 years ago, on a Friday.
Yes.
What have you made of your mum's disappearance as time has passed? Have you tried to find out more?
I started in 1978 to look for my mum. My husband and myself, we went to Glasgow, tried the lecture rolls, telephone calls, long lost families. My daughter even wrote Concealer Black. She was here in those days.
Yeah.
And we just did that, to see if we could get. Then we kept coming back. Nothing happened, so we kept pushing for different things. And then we became aware of these missing persons and beyond in Glasgow, and they have done an amazing thing for searching and helping us, as well as everybody else, the police and everything else. I'm not disputing that. But the more they dig, the better it was for us.
Yeah. So
it was just a case, and we've come to a dead end, really.
What's the whole process been like for you, Linda, and the family?
It's horrible. I mean, my first instinct was when I had my own children, and you need a mother. Everybody needs a mother, but especially when you've had your own children. Yeah. So I found that traumatic, because I didn't have that,
Yeah.
I had a mother-in-law, but obviously she died not long after my first child was born.
Let me bring Martin Bottomley in here, because you started working on this case back in 2019 to try and find some answers for Linda. Tell us a bit more about what information you have.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, really, trying to find answers. I mean, you can see how upset Linda and all her family are, and there's been no physical sign of Isabella, and no digital sign either. She's never had a hospital appointment, never applied for a driving licence, never drawn a pension. So once we learn those kind of things, a missing persons inquiry becomes a criminal investigation. And we did receive some information a couple of years ago about where some ground had been disturbed in an old property in North Manchester where the family had once lived. So we excavated both the garden and the cellar for a period of 12 weeks actually, but there was no sign of Isabella there.
No.
And obviously we're still on the search to get Linda some answers.
Of course. Now, Linda, there was one possible sighting, wasn't there?
So we believe it was some, I don't know where the conversation came from. We got a telephone call, not us, I think it was her father, got a telephone call to say that somebody had seen her in Buchanan Street, which is in Glasgow. And at the time, my father's brother was still alive, so we phoned him, and he went to Buchanan Street, and he said there was nothing there. But obviously he's dead, so he can't confirm that.
Is it possible, Martin, that Isabella may have changed her identity?
It's entirely possible, but I think after all this time and all the searching, it's very unlikely.
So how can the public watching this morning help? What information do you need?
We really need to hear from anybody who knew Isabella, when she was living in Crumpsall in North Manchester, or seen her since, obviously. Perhaps she's moved on to Glasgow, who knows, and assumed another identity, but I do think that's unlikely. But you may have been working with her at Gallagher's cigarette factory, or at Atlas Express Couriers, or at Bearing Services, all firms in North Manchester or Salford that she worked at during that time.
Yeah.
So if you've heard from her, if you've seen her, if you know anything about her disappearance, please get in touch.
And Linda, just finally, I'm sure you'd echo everything that Martin said there, appealing to our viewers at home, if they have any information about your mum, to come forward.
Yeah, please, anything. It's surprising if somebody knows a little bit about something. They might not even thought about it in the past, but hopefully they can find some way of getting it across.
Absolutely. Really appreciate you coming in today.
I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.